Next item is to proclaim Monday, October 12, 2015 as Indigenous Peoples Day. And do we have a representative here this evening? Dr. Wildcat?
Yes, good evening, Mayor. It's always an honor to stand before the Lawrence City Commission, and I'm just going to do a little short intro because as the term heavy lifting has already been invoked here, and I want you really to hear from the people who are the heavy lifters in this. This is really a community effort. I think it's perfect for the Lawrence community to adopt and sort of step in line with other major urban areas, towns, and communities across the country that are taking this move. It's particularly relevant to Haskell, to Lawrence, because of Haskell's presence here in the city. I'd like to identify 4 people before I ask some of our Student Senate Executive Committee. Again, sorry for rushing through this. Most of the commission knows me. Dan Wildcat, faculty member, Haskell Indian Nation University, Yuchi member of the Muskogee Nation, a longtime Lawrence resident, and this has been an incredible community effort. So Barb Wolfen, would you please stand? Barb, Lori Hasselman, Amy Bowsman, and David Crawford. So this was an effort of really Amy making a few phone calls, me directing traffic, and these 4 people. It was a total community effort, really put this proclamation together. So a big round of applause for these movers. And people in the commission have had ample time, opportunities through the years to hear me talk. So I'd like to recognize some of our student executive board of the Haskell Indian Nations University Student Senate to make a few comments about this important proclamation.
Hello, my name is Chris. I'm the Student Senate President at Haskell. First off, I want to thank you for allowing us to be on your agenda, Commission, Mr. Mayor. You really don't know how much this really means to us. We thank you for your continuous support for over 135 years that Haskell's been here, and continuous support. And you know, from Haskell students, on behalf of Haskell, thank you very much from the bottom of our hearts. Thank you.
Shishpachwe, my name is Lolita Seha. I'm also a student on the executive board. I don't think that you guys, like I said, realize this is a huge step not only for the Lawrence community, but as well as for the Haskell community. You're not only putting a day on the calendar or a day of just representing Indigenous people one day. We're looking at the contributions that we have made clear across, Haskell and Lawrence's history. And I think what better way to start is for Lawrence. This is going to be a joint, effort for them to hold the presidency and let other communities see how well we have already came together. You are going to be a big contributor to what we are going to incorporate as far as Indigenous studies now in our curriculum with this acknowledgement. You're going to give those people who may not have a voice as an Indigenous person a voice, an identity, and possibly something to stand for. So most importantly, you're making a long historical years of people who have had an invisible history visible. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
In closing, before the reading of the proclamation, I might suggest that one of the things that we might think about doing is making this official into perpetuity for future years, and really make that shift. We're honored to be here. Haskell is an important part of this community, and I want you to all know that you are home 9 months out of the year to the largest international, intertribal community in North America. We typically have over 100 nations represented, from anywhere from on a slow year to 40 to last year. I think we hit the high out of the states that we could represent and serve. We can't legally serve Hawaiian natives, but we had 49 states, students from 49 states represented on our campus. Lawrence is so fortunate to have the United Nations, really, of American Indian higher education right here in your backyard. So we want to be a part of this community. Let's work together to make this a better place. Thank you very much.
You know, Dr. Wildcat and others, a little history about myself. It's a very proud day for me also. My family, my uncle, Native American, I believe is a graduate from Haskell way back when. And we lost him several years ago. But I know that that heritage and his involvement with Haskell went on forever. He ended up going to Washburn Law, which he ended up being a judge through Bureau of Indian Affairs. My first cousin, who works for BIA, and someone, you know, I care about that guy a lot. He's just a super individual, and I know that this would be a very big, proud moment for him also, because it's a special way for me to help recognize my uncle, his father. And so anyway, I appreciate all the work that has gone in to making this special day happen. I do want you all to know too how much we appreciate the Haskell students that we have in our community, both the students, the faculty, everyone who is involved, the Native American community's impact on our community, you know, through the cultural exchange that we have, the diversity that's brought forward. You know, at the same time, it was suggested we may not recognize, well, you know, I want you all to understand, you may not recognize how much we mean to you, but maybe this starts that process of where we're at. So let's remember that, and I'll be proud to read the proclamation. It's a proclamation whereas the City of Lawrence recognizes that the indigenous peoples of the lands that would later become known as the Americas have occupied these lands since time immemorial. And whereas the City of Lawrence recognizes that Lawrence is built upon the homelands of the Kansa and Osage indigenous peoples, and whereas Lawrence, Kansas is the home of Haskell Indian Nations University and is attended by indigenous peoples of the 48 contiguous states of the U.S. and Alaska, and whereas the City of Lawrence values the many contributions made to the Lawrence community through indigenous peoples' intellectual, spiritual, and the deep cultural contribution that have enhanced the character of the City of Lawrence, and whereas the idea of Indigenous Peoples Day was first proposed in 1977 by a delegation of Native nations to the United Nations and sponsored International Conference on Discrimination Against Indigenous Populations in the Americas. Now, therefore, I, Mike Amix, Mayor of the City of Lawrence, Kansas, do hereby proclaim Monday, October 12, 2015, as Indigenous Peoples Day in the City of Lawrence, and urge citizens to reflect upon the culturally diverse struggles of indigenous people on this land and to celebrate the resilient, culturally diverse indigenous traditions and values that guide and shape Haskell Indian Nations University. Thank you all very much. Thank you for being in our community.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.